Well, the consumer might be okay after all. Consumer sentiment data out today, rising for the first time in 5 months. And this is just the latest data point. Retail sales data, earnings reports, other commentary all suggest that people are still mostly spending. To break down what we've seen, market domination anchor Julie Hyman is here. Hey, Julie.
Hi there, Brad. Indeed, we got the University of Michigan consumer confidence reading this morning. That did tick up. And so that was another encouraging data point because there was a lot of pessimism, right? We saw, and this is the monthly U.S. retail sales data, we had seen a couple of declining months here. And so when you look at the expectations, well, I'm not circling, but you see what I'm indicating here, that a couple of declining months that we had seen. We heard the likes of Home Depot out with some negative news and sentiment. Even Amazon was sort of indicating that consumer spending was perhaps a little shaky. But then yesterday kind of bolstered some of those folks' spirits because we did see that 1% gain in July retail sales that was reported. A lot of that accounted for by automobile sales and gasoline stations. But even if you back those out, we're looking at a pretty broad-based gain across sectors. Now, we talked yesterday on market domination to Michelle Meyer. She's chief economist at the MasterCard Economics Institute, and she talked about kind of the process that we're seeing happen with consumer spending right now.
Where we're settling now is one which hopefully will feel a little bit more balanced, a bit more normal, a new normal, but maybe a little bit more normal and stable, where you don't necessarily have as large of a swings across the different sectors.
So basically what she's referring to is during the pandemic, we really saw kind of spotty areas that were gaining a lot of traction. You know, people buying things for their home during the pandemic, seeing shortages though, so that affected things. Or buying, say, workout apparel, sneakers, because they were running, because they didn't have a lot of other outlets. And then all of the big swings that we have seen in spending going up on travel, but down on goods. So what she's talking about is now more of a normalization where you're seeing more stable spending sort of across different sectors. Of course, another place that we saw this in evidence was in Walmart numbers, which also came out yesterday. I saw a little bit of a rebound in the U.S. comparable sales, although they have been relatively steady here. There's been a little bit of a talk of trade down effect to Walmart from wealthier consumers. And even if that is happening, again here, stability, consistency was sort of the message that Walmart came out with. And the CFO, John David Rainey, said as much in his interview with Yahoo Finance.
We've seen consistency with the consumer. If you look at each month of the second quarter, they were all fairly consistent. There was no step down in July as some had expected. And that's generally our outlook for the year.
So in other words, it's not as though there is this huge, frothy spending here or that there's a lot of excitement about consumer spending. It's rather that the worst case scenario is probably not being realized of consumer spending falling off a cliff. You probably also have a lot of differentiation, right, between different income consumers. And Simeon Siegel of BMO Capital Markets has recently written about how important execution is going to be among the retailers. We're going to hear from a lot more retailers in the next couple of weeks. And as he pointed out, it's not that people aren't spending, but if they are being choosier about where they're spending, it matters about execution on the part of the retailers. Are they providing the merchandise that people want? Is it in the store when people want it? Is it a good experience, whether it's online or in the store? So here are just a few examples of the companies we're going to hear from over the next week. Target out next Wednesday, going to be really interesting. Expectations there are not for it to have done as well as Walmart, but we'll be watching that closely. TJ Maxx and Macy's will give us an idea of what's happening more in the apparel sector. BJ's and Ross also. So we'll be watching all these numbers closely to give us a fuller picture of what's going on here, Brad.
Yeah, seemingly all of those retailers on screen got my money at some point or another last quarter. Julie, thanks so much. Excellent breakdown there. Julie Hyman, be sure to tune in to Market Domination. You can see more of Julie later on at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. She'll count you down to the market close and through it.